garlic forest. The garlic has looked fantastic all season, but I couldn't wait to harvest. And so I always start with the garlic scapes. Garlic scapes are the tender stem and flower bud of hardneck garlic. This means the plants are trying to flower. I had just pruned my basil plants, and so I used the scapes to make some tasty pesto, half of which I froze into cubes for later use, and the rest I made for dinner. I use the spare fencing for all kinds of projects. I use it to keep birds and things out when I sow seeds early in the spring. One thing I like to use it for is to help me harvest garlic. That way I can spread the garlic on here and move it around as needed, and it gets plenty of airflow. It's kind of handy. And so is the wagon. I'm wanting to get a bigger one. Hey folks, it's July and it's time to harvest garlic in Ohio. I'm a little past due. We recently got some rains after an extended drought, and so I wasn't able to get in the garden to get the garlic out when it should have been. And so I just wanted to show you the first sign that garlic is ready. Let's take a look. Once you see those outer leaves start to wither away and they flop over, those are telltale signs that it is time to remove them. Here's an example of one that stayed in the ground just a little too long. You can see the outer skin is worn away. So I'll just have to, it's still good, fine to eat, and I'll just make sure that I set it aside and it will get eaten early. So the fork lets me get deep and loosen the top layer, whereas the shovel lets me get more concentrated around the bulb so that I don't damage it. You want the outer skin to be firm and intact for better storage. I try to get as much of the soil off the surface as I can before curing. One bed down, one to go. You can see how I tried to spread everything out so that there's decent airflow. All right, so now they're in the shade over here where they can get plenty of airflow. They will take at least 2 weeks to cure, maybe more if it's a little bit humid. And if it rains, I can just put them up on the covered deck. We want them to stay dry for that curing period. Most of them look pretty good, rather large. So I haven't bought garlic for well over a decade. Sometimes I plant close, a little bit smaller than I should, but that's okay, it's just for me. I'm the only one in this household that likes garlic. And I grow plenty to give away to friends and family. So I moved everything up onto the deck. This is about a week later. You can see the tops have begun to brown. As the garlic dries, the skin shrinks and turns papery. This forms a protective barrier against moisture and mold for long-term storage. And so before I store these long-term, I'll make sure that that outer skin is intact. If not, I simply set it aside and I will make sure to eat that in the near future. All right, so I've let these cure outside for about a week and I'm wanting to take them inside. The tops are pretty brown and crispy at this point, so I'm just going to remove them. And I still want to leave a fair amount of the stem. There's still some, you can see in most of these, there's still some green and tenderness there. And so there's still some energy to be sent down to the bulb. So I'm just going to do a basic first round of cleanup before I take these inside, where it's a little less humid and they can cure slowly in cooler temperatures. Curing is complete when the outer skins are completely dry and even crispy. The neck will become constricted and the center of the cut stem is hard. So I just removed the dry tops. I left enough of the stem so they can finish their curing process. You can see that they're starting to cure. The skins have tightened around each of the cloves just a little bit. You can see more definition, but there's still another week or so left to go. And so I will clean them up on the next round, where I'll simply brush off this outer layer that's kind of dirty and remove the roots. So once the stem is completely dry, I just brush off this outer layer, and then I will give it a little snip right about here. So just about an inch up. Cut off the roots. Try to brush off as much dirt as I can and take off the outer layer as long as there's an intact layer below. Notice this one here has a cracked outer skin. You can actually see the clove down in there. This is one that is still quite nice, but I will set it aside and just make sure to eat it in the next month or two. There's no hurry, but it won't be good for long-term storage. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel to support me and help me grow. Have a great day.